Hey everyone, this is Darkspidey34, and you're watching the Darkspideycast, and this is the first time I'm actually acknowledging that it's called the Darkspideycast. And here with me I have, for the first time in a long time, Sam.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
I'm part of the Darkspideycast. It's actually the first time I'm acknowledging that it's called that.
Yeah.
So.
I was kind of ashamed of the name because it seems kind of like obvious, like, oh, what else am I going to call it?
What else is there to call it?
Exactly.
Unless you want to say Team Spidey.
No. Well, I can't believe it, man. Only a year ago, I asked you to... Well, I came over, forcibly knocked down your door with all this equipment, and I said, let's talk about useless shit that no one cares about. Yeah, it's been a year.
A lot of conversations since there.
Yeah.
Probably over 30 hours, at
Maybe.
least.
Oh, well, we can look at the playlist and see how long the actual playlist is, and it'll tell us, like, how many hours, because...
That's not even including all the stuff we've edited out.
Oh God. And all the stuff I forgot to upload, and all the stuff that we lost, because we were talking about Ben Affleck's penis. I mean, we were talking about Gone Girl.
Just imagine, like, concentrating all the stuff we've cut out of the podcast into one podcast.
Yeah.
It would be the most offensive thing on the internet.
And how appropriate it being a year, because a year ago, one of the things that we talked about, and that was the Darkspideycast that had the most views. Sorry, I got bacon in my teeth.
Oh boy. Pass that over here.
No, let me just one piece, I can get rid of it. Okay, it's gone. Because guess what everyone else just saw recently? Guess what came out recently?
The Hobbit.
No.
The Avengers 2.
Oh. Anyway, a year ago we talked about Dawn of Justice when they were first, putting it all together.
Oh yeah.
And we're talking about Ben Affleck and all.
All right.
So it's completely appropriate for us to now
talk about Ben Affleck's penis.
No, let's talk about Ex Machina. Okay, so it's about a guy, right? I believe he's a programmer or something. He works for like this facsimile of Google and Apple, and the guy who runs that company is like, "Hey, I'm having this contest or whatever," and he wins the contest, and he gets flown off to this like secluded area and everything, and he's basically there to test the AI to see if it's actually like a true consciousness. So I thought it was a pretty good movie. It was a pretty good bottle film. And I guess I'm sorry, that was completely off a whim there. I was trying to see how long I could go like that, and I fucked it up. Yeah,
no,
so I wanted to be unconventional. Like, yeah, everyone's talking about Suicide Squad, and they're talking about Dawn of Justice. I'm going to talk about fucking Ex Machina, a movie that came out like 4 months ago, I think 3 months ago. Yeah, it was 3 months ago. Well, I saw it 3 months ago in theaters because I'm a patron of the arts. I go and pay for movies that I want to see, even if I don't like them.
Really?
Yeah, that's what happened last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. So much money wasted. I mean, so much money well spent, for my honest opinion of such.
There's now blood coming out of Reggie's eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be clear.
Well, to be fair, my eyes are pretty bloodshot because I don't get much sleep or something.
Because you're having reoccurring dreams about all the movies you've seen over the past couple of years?
No, my dreams are so vivid and so just unnecessarily disturbing in detail and visceral. So what we might be talking about today is, because I was getting a little insecure about our topics, as though like, oh, we talk about comic movies, we don't really talk about real issues or real art. So maybe I'll talk about real art, whatever the fuck that is. How real. Exactly, it's all fiction, so I don't know. I guess we can talk about documentaries, but I don't know. I saw a documentary.
Which one?
It was the one revolving around the Brazilian race car driver, Senna. It was like 2.5 hours long, but it was really entertaining.
Speed Racer?
No, he wasn't a speed racer. He was a Brazilian. He was a Brazilian Formula One driver. It just shows you basically the politics and the risk and the fame and the pressures that comes with being a Formula One driver in the 80s and 90s.
So kind of like Speed Racer.
Yeah, kind of. It's like the adult version of Speed Racer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Speed Racer is for kids. It's just like, oh, I gotta Who's my secret? Who's that guy with the X on his face? Who is that? Oh, and none of that is there. It's all.
It's not. Why watch it?
Yeah.
In that case, right?
Yeah, people actually fucking die.
They call that art.
And they die horribly.
Right. Ridiculous.
Yeah. And sometimes they don't even die. They just get horribly maimed permanently.
And they become half car, right? Because they're squished together. So it's like a centaur, but the bottom is a car. There's
a old kind of an old cartoon show where these kids get mutated into cars because a comet hit near them, and it was live action, but they had like late 90s, early 2000s CG, and it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's very strange.
I don't even remember what it was called, and I'm glad I don't, because I want that to be, gone.
Man, I gotta watch that. This was a documentary?
It wasn't a documentary. I hope not. Those poor kids, because one of them is having an existential crisis, while the other kids are just like, "Whoa, this is so cool." I don't know if it was like a race thing, because the black guys are like, "Holy, oh my god, I'm a fucking car. What's that?" You didn't actually say that. Right. And all the white guys are just like, all the white people are just like, "This is so cool. Wow." Like, this is incredibly racist.
That's, the only appropriate reaction if you get turned into a car would be.
Yeah. I guess it's just like, it's the white stereotype, like, oh, they're so curious, oh, they're too trusting of everything, they don't really object that much, kind of pushovers, I suppose. It's horribly offensive, and it should not. I'm probably reaching.
Well, no.
I'm probably reaching because
I can see why it would be alarming for the black guy, because now he's gonna get pulled over all the time. He'll never have a break ever again.
Well, he obviously has brakes because he's a car, but jeez, that's a nightmare existence. Because I don't know what kind of car you would be. I guess it would be the one with the hydraulics and the rims. Yeah. Now we're touching on all bases here. Right. So anyway, Dawn of Justice.
Right.
Yeah, Sam hasn't seen Dawn of Justice yet because he's a respectable human being.
Right.
I'm not even joking.
/ pleb.
Because every piece of shit on the internet has something to say about Dawn of Justice, and it's not always the nicest thing. So many people have seen it. Of course, awful people have seen it, including myself, multiple times actually.
Really? How many times?
Probably 3 times. I tried to stay away from trailers, but I think this was a special case because of my prior history with this current film continuity and the films when we were talking about Man of Steel off and on forever. So so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play it. I don't know if I can play it. You go ahead and just type in.
Yeah, sure. Bless you.
Gesundheit. Just type in Dawn of Justice, and if we get a copyright claim, when I'm editing this, hey Reggie, while you're editing this, I'm gonna decide whether or not I want to keep the audio. There's no way in hell I'm gonna keep the video because I just no. April. These are all from April. That's not it. It's from July. Anything
go
from
straight to YouTube? Is that Google videos not a good?
Just do Comic-Con 2015.
Add that on.
Yeah, to the end.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was shit talking about this movie a couple of months ago. Now I gotta change my pants.
Okay, so I'm sorry I was reacting that way. Well, I couldn't help it. So what did you think?
It looks pretty good, man.
Yeah, I thought it looked. I
can at least say that the trailer is well constructed at the very least.
Oh yeah. You had some questions while we were watching it, and a lot of people have been speculating over all these images in the trailer. Obviously, he's taking stills and like, oh, what does this mean? Is this a flashback? Is this a dream sequence? What's going on here? In the earlier part of the trailer, when Ben Affleck is looking up at the building and he's lasers going through. That's actually from the fight from the first movie.
Oh, seriously?
The ending fight,
okay,
yeah.
Okay,
and someone overlaid. Well, they put the a clip from the first movie of Zod inside the building when he first shoots his eye lasers out, and they had Ben Affleck looking up at the building underneath, and it was like almost perfect. I'm just like, oh wow, that's impressive how they kept track of that. And the other part you had a question is like, oh, who is he calling? Why does he have the bat signal out?
Yeah. And
I think they're intentionally fucking with us here over what's actually going to happen in the film. They're just like, he has the power to destroy the human race. We have to stop him. I don't think they're talking about Superman.
Oh, don't? You think there's a third character here?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Something to do with Zod. I think it has something to do with Zod because you see them, unzipping the thing,
Right.
So I think they might be some sort of composite of Bizarro and who else? I don't know. Might be some composite of Zorro. Jesus Christ, Bizarro and Zod. But ironically, if that's true, he would just be called Zorro or Zorro.
Right. Interesting.
I don't know.
Would
That's
he be good then? The Bizarro version of Zod would be.
He'd be the Bizarro version. It's a composite. It's not like the exact same character.
Uh-huh.
But that's also what people have been speculating about. I think the whole Superman's gonna fight Batman, I think that aspect of the film sort of overtook, what people were talking about.
Right.
So that it wasn't even called Batman versus Superman. It was just called Dawn of Justice last time I heard.
And they tacked that on.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember it being called Man of Steel, Dawn of Justice, or Superman, Dawn of Justice. Superman. I don't know. I think they were deciding whether or not to make this a direct sequel or making it or just make a movie and tie it into Man of Steel,
right,
and tie it into Suicide Squad.
Wait, this is tied into. Is it related to Suicide Squad?
Yeah. Ben Affleck was on the set of Suicide Squad as Batman.
Seriously?
Yeah, he was on top of Joker's car and everything.
Well, that's crazy.
Oh yeah. So
they're really building a DC universe here. They decided, they're doing what Marvel's doing. They're trying to actually build.
Yeah, but they're doing it slightly.
Universe.
Yeah, they're doing it slightly differently.
They haven't made as many movies.
Yeah. So many people have been commenting here. I'm trying to pull up the story here. Sure. Said it's saved. This is from comicbook.com. Ian Oh, fuck you. I don't want to sign up for your stupid news. I mean, I am not interested in your newsletter, comicbook.com. No, thank you. This is what I was talking about before we did the recording. Oh, you want to start an account with us? You want to do this? Hey, sign up with Facebook. You can tweet about us. Could you please let go of my neck? Okay, so Ian McKellen, and you might want to brace yourself for this, he's still alive. Yeah.
So Ian.
Yeah, Sir Ian McKellen is still alive.
I saw his AMA the other day.
Yeah. It's weird because I don't think I ever had a chance to talk to you about Christopher Lee, who died, I think a month ago.
No, yeah, because he died after our podcast speculating who was going to die.
He was, and as I said, it wouldn't be so bad if he wasn't the first goddamn person on the list.
Pretty sure you killed him by making the list.
No. The running joke is Stan Lee is killing all these guys. Yeah. I think these comic book creators are immortal. Because they are living a long-ass time. Yeah. So many writers and artists I thought have been dead for years are still alive. Like, John Romita Sr. is still alive.
Here's my thought.
That's amazing to me.
I think, at least in the case of Stan Lee, every superhero he's created has acted as a Horcrux. So he's taken a bit of his soul and put it into them. As long as they are alive, selling comic books, making movies, he will live. Yeah,
I think there's another name for a Horcrux. I think that's what it was just called for Harry Potter. What's the actual, what is that based off of? I forgot what it was called. Oh, man. It's going to come to me later, and this is going to
shout it out randomly.
I'm like, fuck, that's what it was called. When I heard John Romita Sr. was still alive, it was like this weird sense of relief, because I'm so used to all these old people that I used to still looked up to as a fan of these particular comic books. I'm just like, oh, they're still alive. Because all my heroes end up dying or becoming rapists.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's like I'm living in Gotham City, Because Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I was going to Bill Cosby.
Yeah, and I guess that's relevant. I mean, everyone else is talking about it too, but, I was doing Bill Cosby impressions not only on my YouTube channel for off and on for years, for no fucking reason, but we did Bill Cosby impressions in, middle school or high school, I think. Yeah. I remember one specific instance we were just screaming Bill Cosby quotes from across the hall or from across the stairwell. Yeah. Something about the pudding pops. Truly, don't you want to try these pudding pops? I put something new in there. That's really awful.
And now it turns out every sex offender in the United States has been doing impressions of Bill Cosby for the past 20 years. So,
I don't know.
Without realizing it.
At first I thought, wow, this is incredibly fucked up. I can't believe it. I cannot fucking believe it. If it wasn't just if it was just sort of some sort of kink that he had, like with Eddie Murphy or something, I would be like, I don't give a shit, whatever. I mean, yeah, does Eddie Murphy have a family? Because with him, it was a transsexual prostitute. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Who cares? You're talented. I don't care.
Right. If you have
if he has a family, that's kind of fucked up. I know prostitution is illegal, but
still. But there's consent there. I mean, at least.
Yeah. Is this a call? I can't tell if this. No, I guess
you can.
Yeah. Okay. One second. Okay.
We're about to hear a conversation between Reggie and his mother.
Hello. Did you get my message? Okay. Alright, okay. Love you too, Mommy. Bye. Okay. Okay.
She was just calling to confirm that you got your text?
Yeah. I don't care. I mean, if he has a family, that's pretty fucked up, but still, it's illegal, but it's like, it's
consensual.
It's literally a victimless crime.
Right.
It's more just like, wagging the finger.
Yeah.
Whatever. But this is entirely fucked up, and I would not expect it from this kind of personality as Bill Cosby. But when I thought about it a little bit more, it started to make sense. His weirdness factor, everything about him that was a little bit off, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. The clues were all there.
Yeah.
His mannerisms, the way he talked, I can't picture it in my head what he was doing. People have joked about not even seeing him, participate in consensual sex.
She knows.
Hello? Hello?
Is that your mother's butt you're talking to?
Yeah.
Oh, there she goes.
Okay, that's fine. Bye.
What'd she say?
She called me by mistake or something.
Okay.
You know how moms are with cell phones. I don't know how good your mom is with cell phones.
No, not great.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to use emojis.
Like,
she recently figured
am I using this right, Sam? Am I doing this right? Whenever they're trying to do something on the computer and they need your help, there just comes that point where you just like, oh, get up, just let me do it, jeez. They're done, God. Ugh. Fucking normies.
Well,
they still have Internet Explorer. They have all these extensions that they don't need.
God.
Just cluttered. Like, Internet Explorer is just cluttered. And you shouldn't even have Internet Explorer up ever.
Why?
I mean, this is in 1995. Might as well just have fucking Netscape. But ironically enough, the source code for Netscape is still being used today in Mozilla and Firefox.
Really?
So So they never really go away. They're always here with us.
They find a way.
Yeah.
Internet Explorer finds a way.
Well, the internet browsers find a way.
Yeah. I know Java preferred Netscape.
Yeah.
Because I've looked through old programming books and they're like, open up Netscape.
Yeah. One of the guys who, one of the more prolific JavaScript people was actually that guy who was let go from Mozilla last year. Yeah, I knew that because I wrote a paper on it.
Really?
For a class for
what
business
class?
Business ethics.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why did he get let go?
He donated money for the ban on gay marriage or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
And they let him go for that?
Yeah, it was like this whole controversial thing when people found out about it, or like Twitter campaigns, and once people get on Twitter and going, I don't like thing, fuck off.
But okay, you can't fire someone. Obviously it's a bigoted opinion, but you can't fire someone for a personal opinion. I mean, if it has nothing to do with his work.
Yeah, that was the basis of my paper. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I'm just like, oh well, he did all this other stuff for the company before, right. So yeah, and it's non-profit, so I don't know, whatever. It was a year ago, so let's talk about something that was filmed a year ago. Batman, Superman. I don't actually know what I was talking about. We were talking about Bill Cosby for a while.
That's right, Bill Cosby. Yeah, you didn't actually finish your thought on Bill Cosby.
Oh yeah.
So
I said his mannerisms. That was pretty much that's it. People are like, I can't imagine Bill Cosby doing anything.
He's a little off.
Yeah, that's it. That was it the whole time. Yeah.
Just trying to. Do you think it bothered him? I mean, do you think he felt guilty? He was thinking about it when he was filming. No, not at all. So you think he's a sociopath? Wait, what? He's just shaking his head.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Oh, is that the phone? Yeah. Getting all sorts of calls. You have a phone in the basement? I have a phone in my basement.
No, I
have like 2 phones in my basement. I don't know what your deal is.
You want a cup of coffee?
I am already pretty much energized. I already got a cup of coffee.
Do you get more water?
Maybe. Yeah.
You gonna come with me?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Well, it wasn't. It was just like a whole bunch of just curly locks all over my face.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much of it I had. It was so long, and it did kind of look like fucking Frodo's hair. It did. I was so surprised. So much of it. I'm just sort of sitting there, and it's like, I remember a photo of us from Branson. I'm just sort of like, I don't give a shit, whatever. My hair's combed to the side. It was so fucking edgy, and I wasn't even trying to be edgy. I wasn't even listening to
alternative music.
Yeah, or anything like that. I was like, why am I so sad in all these photos? Jeez, I look so depressed here.
Just being a teenager.
I guess,
being in Branson. Bad combination.
Wasn't even just... Well, I was actually pretty happy in Branson. Just everywhere else I was, like... I get... I'm trying to think. Where's that photo? I don't remember. Where it took place.
High school sucked.
Yeah. Well, middle school was pretty weird. Because it's a transitional phase between...
Middle school was super weird, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with myself in middle school.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the entire time I was in middle school, I was confused. I didn't really get a hang of things until I graduated high school.
I didn't get a hang of things until I graduated college. Which I will eventually, maybe. I don't know. I was thinking about, I don't know.
Graphic design?
Something like that. Something a little bit more tech-oriented.
Sure.
Trying to make me seem valuable as a person in the workforce.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I know Webster has an animation degree program, but once again, that's kind of contradictory to what you were just saying. Well, no, I don't know. Animation isn't. I mean, that's marketable to say. You know.
Well, this is what happens when we have an entire industry producing work in just one or two places in the country.
Right.
Not even mentioning stuff that people can do independently on the internet. Just the major powerhouses of the art form is in like one or two places in the entire country.
Right.
It's like California or probably New York.
Right.
So I mean, the other that I think that's kind of counterproductive. I think,
especially with the internet.
Yeah, I think.
Why?
I don't know. I think we should have larger studios all across the country.
Right.
Get
that started, man.
Yeah.
Start a studio in the Midwest. Yeah. I'll invest.
I'll probably just work for some public access show, which would be just kind of irrelevant because you already have the internet. So.
Right. People
who worked on public access in the 90s are on the internet right now doing kind of the same thing that they were doing back then.
Right.
More successful, more refined, so
It doesn't make a lot of sense because the thing is you got to imagine in New York and California, it's got to be so expensive just to exist there, right?
Oh.
Whereas if you were to start the same sort of studio in the Midwest, I could see why maybe even 10 years ago would be a problem because weren't able to communicate the way we can now. But now you want to get from one point in the country to another, any point, you do it in a day. You're there by the afternoon. You want to send over an entire project, fine. It'll take 10 minutes. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you are. So you're right. It's a little bit strange.
Yeah. Well, just as an example, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I brought this up in the last Darkspideycast. The main character, Aang, the voice actor, he did all of his lines separately from the other side of the country. I mean, they were all like Skyping, so they knew what emotion or whatever the direction to take the scene.
Right.
But he was never in the same room as them when they were recording. Yeah, because he had school to work on and everything. So
that's really cool. Yeah, that's really interesting.
The entire show, I never knew. I could never tell. For Legend of Korra, I guess the writers were on different planes of existence. Ha 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 ha. Because the writing on that show is kind of...
Doesn't make sense.
No, it's kind of igniting that same thing inside of me that... Not the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think the prequel, really close, or the prequel trilogy kind of upset or anger that people have had with it, following up a successful franchise and then kind of running those concepts and mythos into the ground.
That's too bad.
Whatever. It's over. It's done. Except for the comics that are coming out based off of the show. Anyway, what were we talking about before we got refilled?
Did we get through the Bill Cosby conversation?
I think so.
All right, and then we moved on
I'm done talking about Bill Cosby. And that's incredibly fucked up. I mean, I'm just trying to think of like another hero of mine that might actually do that. Like I'm imagining... Like, I don't know, if John Williams gets, like, in trouble for, like, putting Quaaludes in women's drinks, I don't know what I'm gonna fucking do. Like, he puts it in the flute or something?
Oh, God.
Like, into the oh, God. I just can't imagine, he looks like a grandpa. He almost looks like a Santa Claus. He's the Santa Claus of music, bringing good music to the good boys and girls. And the bad ones.
And the bad ones.
Yeah, it's like,
especially the bad ones.
Especially the bad ones. Yeah, he's a bad guy, but he has a great fucking theme. you'll never make music that iconic. And even melodies that people don't know that much about, they're still really fucking good.
Yeah.
And I'd like to apologize. Actually, people do care about Memoirs of a Geisha. I'm sorry. They do. They actually really like that soundtrack. I'm sorry. It's highly rated on Spotify. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Partially because of me. But, it was like in the millions of plays. So I'm just like, oh, shit, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I shouldn't have
spoken. Did John Williams do the soundtrack for Memoirs of a Geisha?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it was mostly, it sounded like a, whatever.
Asian fusion?
Yeah, sure. I actually, it's funny. One of the I think one of the violinists that they had on there. I do not know how to pronounce his name. Let me see if I can find it on here. This will be really, really, really quick. One of the violinists that he had. I actually have his music saved here. Yo-Yo Ma. He was. Yeah. See. Yeah. That's exactly the kind of. He actually worked on the music with John Williams. I think he was a. One of the violinists on the in the orchestra. I have his other music saved onto here. When I saw the names, I'm just like, oh, cool. Okay, awesome, great. So that's all I wanted to say. See if I can go back here. The story I wanted to talk about, pertaining to Dawn of Justice, was Ian McKellen, and Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen says. Superman is a joke, but X-Men is about something.
Really?
Yeah. I'm reading this once again from comicbook.com. Ian McKellen has enjoyed a successful career playing the mutant master of magnetism, Magneto, and Fox's X-Men film franchise for the past 15 years. So what possessed the storied English actor to play a supervillain in a Hollywood franchise, especially after the decline of the Batman movies had attached such a stigma to superhero films as a genre? This is talking about the late 90s.
Right.
Speaking to Uprocks, which is I guess is a website or a company, I don't know. McKellen says it has to do with the core concept behind X-Men and the different level of commitment involved in signing up for such a film back then. Well, director Bryan Singer persuaded me. X-Men was about something. Superman isn't really about anything. It's a joke. The nerd changes his underpants and becomes Superman. That's James Bond. Shaken, not stirred. Silly, stupid British twit. And then Action Man. But X-Men is about the problems of being a mutant. We've all felt that we are mutants on occasion. So that's what that was the hook for me. And don't forget, I didn't have to sign to do anything more than just one. I'm just doing a movie. The explanation was in line with previous statements by McKellen when he described the X-Men movies as superior.
Wow, he really does sound like Magneto.
Yeah, he's really getting into character. God damn, see, this is what I said about Ian McKellen being a really great actor. He's really getting into it. It's like when he broke down crying on the Hobbit set. He's like, yeah, he's really getting into Gandalf and how he feels right now. Wow. Yeah, man. McKellen's next film is Mr. Holmes, opening. I'm sorry, they have sponsored links at the bottom here. It just caught my eye. 15 celebrities that you forgot committed horrible crimes.
Oh, okay. How fitting, then.
Oh, yeah. What? Oh, are you? What is
in reference to the Bill Cosby?
Oh, okay. No one's gonna forget about that. I thought you were talking about Ian McKellen. Like, what did he do?
Well, yeah.
Did he put Quaaludes in people's drinks?
He did kill the king at one point, didn't he? And then try and hide it with his wife. Fell into insanity. Eventually was murdered by.
Is this a reference to something? I don't know. I was just about to say, is this a reference to literature that I have not read before? Because it sounds very literature-y, if that makes any sense.
We watched it. We had to watch it in a late class.
Okay, so you didn't do it by choice?
No, see, I didn't just sit down and read Macbeth. I'm not that fancy.
Okay, because whatever I want to... I'm very experience-based when it comes to, art. So I want to, I'm going to hold off viewing something that is of high acclaim so I can hold off having that experience so there's something to look forward to eventually,
okay,
I guess.
That's actually a pretty good plan.
Yeah, so that's why I'm more prone to watch stuff that is absolute shit, on repeat while I'm working on something. Okay. It's weird. It's a weird relationship I have with this stuff. So how do you feel about this obvious clickbait article that I clicked on and gave the website money for and everything? How do you feel about that?
Well, I regret you giving the website money.
Yeah.
No, it's not bad. I like the ad at the top.
Yeah, the Game of War ad. They just have
It's probably it's hard because There are some websites you would actually like to have money because you like what they do, you like what they produce. But at the same time, anytime someone tries to trick me into giving me money, I hate them. Like I just, I would gladly if they say, "Can I have a donation?" Be like, "Yeah, here's $20, whatever." But if they try and trick me into giving them a cent, they're bastards. That's it for me.
Yeah, so
light them on fire.
Yeah, well. This is. I feel like Ian McKellen is speaking from, and how dare I, bad talk Ian McKellen. Okay. I feel like when it comes to superhero or Superman comic books, I feel like maybe he's not that well versed in them because he's because this is something that's been happening in superhero films since the very beginning. The actors do not know the characters all that well.
Right.
It's not a requirement, but they didn't read much before then. Like for example, when I was talking about Man of Steel, I wasn't completely aware of all the different sources that it took from. I believe there's some Earth 1 stuff, Birthrights, I don't remember. But mostly my issues with Man of Steel as a film was just that. As a film, I didn't much care for it. I wouldn't say I hated it. I appreciate it for doing things a little bit differently, but taking me by surprise. Telling a Superman story in this way. Because, they tried it with Superman Returns, and it was really, really fucking boring. And actually, we watched Superman Returns, because it was on HBO recently. When we talked about this a year ago, and I said, well, I haven't watched Superman Returns in a while. I think I hadn't watched it in, 5 years at that point. So I watched it. Oh, my God! Oh, my God! It's so... It's really something to behold. I really forgot how much, because I remember people complaining about it and everything. I'm just like, oh, it's not that bad, but I was 12 years old.
Sure, yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I tried to compare it to other superhero films that came out at the time, other contemporary films like Batman Begins. So much better, aged so much better than Superman Returns.
Really?
It's just it's a marvel. I can't believe I ever thought at one point these might be in the same universes or something. It feels so silly of me, at the time.
Right.
And it just Batman Begins is aged so much better. In fact, I would dare say Batman Begins is one of the best well-aged superhero films that have come out in the mid-2000s.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. Fantastic Four, Elektra, Daredevil, Hulk, Ghost Rider, all came out within 2 or 3 years of each other.
So bad.
Yeah. That's incredible that it still holds up that well.
Yeah. Batman has an advantage, I think, over other superhero films. Yeah. Because a lot of times, I think when people consider superhero films, they think, what can they do? And this becomes the focus of the film, their powers.
Yeah.
To a degree. But with Batman, we're really interested in who he is. And that gives him an advantage because he can be at least a more interesting character than some other superheroes. Like, you're dealing with the Thing, and you're like, where does the Thing come from? How does the Thing feel?
Well, that's part of his issue is that he's stuck with all these pretty people who got really cool powers, and he's a fucking monster.
He that's part of an interesting story.
Yeah, if anything, him and Johnny have the most interesting of the most interesting dynamics.
You could do a lot. You could do a lot with it.
Honestly, that was the best part of those Fantastic Four movies. Watching Chris Evans, who would be Captain America, and Michael Chiklis work off of each other. Honestly, I'm not personally well versed in Superman lore as I probably should be, but I don't know. I think he's kind of talking shit here. I think he's specifically talking shit because this is just more Company Wars stuff, and this was during Comic-Con, and that was the latest trailer to be released. And it's one of the higher quality trailers out, just as a video standpoint, because everyone else is just cam rips and such. So I think everyone's sort of kind of converging on that one because it's gathering kind of the most hype because all the other superhero films that are coming out, they can claim maybe one or two things that haven't been done, but Superman and Batman on the big screen together, that's never been. Has that been done before? I don't think it has been.
Maybe not to a long time ago. Not my generation.
Not like this, no. And that's fucking scary to Marvel, to Fox, to Sony. It's that freaks them the fuck out. This is gonna be a monster.
Right.
I think Disney's okay because we got Star Wars waiting in the wings. We're gonna be fine, and that's coming out later this year, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're worried about that. But this is in this in the exact same genre as their other stuff. And Age of Ultron isn't doing so good. I'm sorry, didn't do so good in terms of the critical reception from at least the professional critics out there, the top critics.
Not that it matters.
Yeah, I guess not.
Well, that's a different conversation.
Well, yeah. And Ant-Man isn't doing... I don't remember what it had on Rotten Tomatoes. Last time I checked, it was in the 70s.
That's not bad.
Yes. Oh, if I got a movie that got 70% Rotten Tomatoes, I'd be pretty fucking happy. Like, oh, it could have been a lot worse because statistically speaking, 70% is not that bad at all.
No, I mean for any film, but for Ant-Man especially, it's like
I
don't think any of us were expecting
much
to do well.
It should have. I think they should have released Ant-Man first, before Age of Ultron, because everyone's just like kind of blew their load over that, and now there's just Ant-Man, okay,
right.
And you have Mad Max coming out in between both of them, I think.
Yeah.
And that just I saw Mad Max. Yeah. Mark told me to go see it, and I saw it in theaters.
How was it?
It was a great movie. It was a great movie theater experience, and I'm glad I went. I had a lot of fun.
I heard it was really good.
Yeah. I
especially on the big screen.
Oh yeah, it was just all the bells and whistles of large, grand filmmaking was all on display. I'm just like, oh yes, this is why I come to the movies. I might be overrating it a bit because it's my personal experience, but I enjoyed being there.
Great.
Tom Hardy was great. And Charlize Theron was great. Everyone was great. The whole setting. I've never seen a Mad Max film, so I could be just like overrating it because I've never seen it. But I like what's going on with that coffee mug. I get it.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Jalfresis.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Just like, what happened to the coffee? Oh, God. No, I get it. I see. That's good.
Wait, what?
I thought there was something... At first, I thought, oh, God, what happened to the coffee mug? Oh, I guess maybe something happened.
Oh, okay.
No, but I get it.
Yeah.
That's cute. That's
Thanks.
real cute. Because, we do have coffee mugs that pertain to the jobs that our parents have. Because I do have coffee mugs with, like...
Maps.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. With pictures of the globe and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so weird. Why are they so obsessed with this stuff? I guess they're just like, hey,
this is
free mugs. We've had this mug for 20 years. Hey, free mugs, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. In regards to Mad Max, I would like to say nobody cared about Tom Hardy until he put on the Max.
God damn it. He put on the Max. Okay. No. No, he was wearing a mask throughout not a significant portion of the film, but just enough where that was an obstacle for the character to overcome. And I'm just like, fuck, I'm never gonna hear the end of this, aren't I?
Oh boy.
Oh god, they gotta stop putting him in masks and putting him in a prison. They gotta stop doing that.
That's all he has, man.
Yeah. And he was acting with his eyes again because he was like a blood bag. For the, and they put him on the front of the car, and he's just like, that must be so fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And the camera just focuses on his face. Oh god,
I heard that the director at first told him during that scene not to say anything at all. He was supposed to be completely silent.
Wow.
But he couldn't help, like being like fuck.
Yeah.
They let him say that.
Yeah, there was a lot of practical effects, a lot of practical things. Yeah,
that's what I heard. It's kind of like going back to the roots.
Yeah. Dark Knight Rises had a lot of practical effects. You know when the guys are on the outside of the airplane?
Yeah.
Not even joking. They were actually on the outside of the airplane. Yes, they were.
No.
There were pictures of it and everything.
Seriously?
Yeah, and he was like...
it flying? No.
What? What do you mean fly?
Like in air?
Yeah, they were up in the air.
Really?
Yeah, there were helicopters and everything holding up like this airplane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's great. It's grand filmmaking, and it's like it's like near the final battle where all the people are running towards each other.
Yeah.
That's all real people.
Wow.
All of them are real people. So people are actually filming it from their phones from their apartments.
That's cool.
So it almost looked exactly like it did on screen. So if they ever wanted to, which they can't, but if they ever wanted to like continue it and use like archival footage, they'd like, hey, let's just use people's cell phones or something, and they could just like donate the footage, and we could just show them, this is what happened today at Gotham. It's just incredible to actually see a scene from a movie happen almost exactly the way it did.
It's refreshing too, with all the CGI that's floating around. It's nice.
It literally has weight to it. And it looks that way on screen, there was something about The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, we complain about it enough, but there's something about the aspect of filmmaking about The Dark Knight Rises that really I couldn't really put my finger on it, but something I actually really, really liked. It was so grand, and all the sets and everything, and all the people on it, just everything was coordinated and everything. I don't know. It's like the scene where the League of Shadows are coming into the pits and everything. All that just looked like a play or something, or like a grand scale production. It was really...
Definitely had it felt real. So wait, you were talking about
Ian McKellen.
Yes, Ian McKellen.
Yeah, well, they're not as well versed with superhero comics, but I feel like he's getting two major things mixed up. I think he's mixing the quality of the movies as like the be all end all of the characters themselves, because you simply have more X-Men movies that have come out recently versus Superman movies.
Right.
Just singling it to the 21st century, because that's literally the beginning of the X-Men films.
Right.
You have Superman Returns and you have Man of Steel. And I feel differently about both of those films, but I feel like they're better than some X-Men movies.
Right.
Like, let me think. I feel like Superman Returns is better than X-Men 3, but that's just sort of a grudge I have because the director of the X-Men films actually directed Superman Returns, so he left X-Men, and then What's-His-Face did X-Men 3, and it was awful.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know if that was really the director's fault entirely, because Simon Kinberg, that's not me being insulting, that's his actual last name. He's a hack. He's a fucking hack, alright? He's a fucking hack.
Wait, is this you being insulting, or is this...
Now this is me being insulting. Okay. This is not his fucking middle name, alright? No, I'm blaming... The directors get too much of the blame, and yes, sometimes they do, but there's other aspects of this film that need to be called out. You know, you have producers, you have writers, and even to an extent actors, because they all play a part in what's happening on screen. So, you know, I'm just gonna... And it's been nearly 10 years, okay? So I gotta get this out of my system.
Oh, I understand.
Fucking Simon Kinberg. I can't even say his name. It sounds incredibly insulting.
Simon Kinberg.
Because of the K and the Berg, it sounds like the sound of the K. It just sounds awful. I don't like saying.
It sounds a little ironic, definitely. Yeah.
It's his last name sounds like a racial slur. I feel awful now. You know, it's like.
It's okay.
Oh God. Oh God. Middle school must have been hell for this guy. Jesus. Oh yeah, middle school must have been hell. What about his fucking his ancestors or whatever? Like, middle school must have been so hard for this guy. yeah, middle school. Oh yeah. Anyway.
Oh my God.
Look, okay, so Superman was written. Oh, speaking of, you know, Jewish people, Superman was written by two Jewish people, and was sort of like an avatar for that. It was the avatar for immigration, integration into a different society. You know, it was about pretty much kind of the same thing. I feel like, yeah, some Superman stories have lost that aspect of Superman, but I feel like, you know, we're one movie in, and I don't think all is lost. And if someone like me can talk shit for a year, over a year, 2 years actually, and then kind of win me back with this trailer,
yeah, and
kind of like have me excited, I think that's going in a good direction, you know? And there are a lot of shit X-Men movies, and just because there's a lot of shit X-Men doesn't mean X-Men is inherently shit.
No.
Alright, but come on, Ian. Some of the worst superhero films ever made were X-Men films, but also some of the best, so it's weird. X-Men is a weird franchise, and I think it's because of Fox, you know? And some of the effects for Fox films were really bad. Really bad.
It's funny what Ian McKellen said in favor of the X-Men films, you know, this whole idea of being a mutant, because that's pretty much a consistent theme throughout every superhero film, or every superhero story.
Yeah.
Just name one. It's like, yep, yeah, they're mutant. They're an outsider. I mean,
yeah. That's pretty much like the basis for a lot of Marvel's characters, is that aspect of being a little different.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Superman, yeah, stranger to a planet. You know, alien. You know.
Yeah, and we want to look up to
outsider.
him because of all the things that he can do and all the things he stands for, and, you know, gay shit like that. You know, so it's like it's. I feel like if he could, like, I feel like people are taking general ideas in their head, not actual specific sources like Superman comic books,
right,
or anything. They can only probably do movies or TV shows or something like that, but they can't really, like, quote offhand or cite a source directly as, you know, this is responsible for this is responsible for this. Like, off the top of my head, you know, Killing Joke's probably the start of the kind of darker, edgier Joker. Off the top of my head, you know, 1930s, 1940s Batman was pretty dark. Got a little cartoony in the 50s and 60s. Got dark in the 70s and 80s and all up to now.
Right.
So that's just top of my head. You know, I could be wrong. Could be some discrepancies here and there, but that's just because I've done my homework and I've memorized some of it.
Right.
And I've actually read through. I didn't just read Wikipedia articles. I actually read the actual comics.
Right.
And I don't feel like Ian McKellen has done that.
No.
What he was at, he probably just asked off it, like, oh, whatever, the movies are shit, who cares, give me money, I don't know. Right. I got like, just, you know,
give me a way to justify being in this film.
My biological clock is ticking like this. All right, it's so he's on his way out. So I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm being so mean. Okay, the comments were a lot meaner than I am being, because like half of them were just like, oh, he's gay, what does he know, or oh, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, it's weird. It's
Magato.
Well,
that's
well, he probably relates to it because, you know, he's a gay, so he probably knows how that feels.
Right.
But
homosexuals are mutants.
When I was like scrolling through the page, and I got to horrible crimes that people have committed that you forgot about, Bryan Singer was accused of doing some stuff on the set of some of the films that he made with teenage boys. Allegedly. So some of it was pretty. Some of it was pretty fucked up.
Like what? Wait, who's Bryan Singer again?
He directed the X-Men movies, the first two,
okay.
and Days of Future Past, and Superman. Yeah, Superman Returns.
So what, like Ice Boy?
It was a film he did before X-Men.
Okay.
And the thing, this happened multiple times, but it's just like nothing really came up. Nothing really, not really sufficient. So
right.
That was it. Came up around the time that Days of Future Past came out, so that was. This is all very timely. All these news articles coming out, all this discussion is all tying it into something else to promote something that you're in or something else or whatever. Because he has X-Men Apocalypse coming out. He's in that movie, I think. I don't know. Well, I don't know. They were shilling, but they were promoting another movie that he's in, the Sherlock Holmes movie.
Right.
Yeah, because that's one franchise that's not been done to the fucking ground.
Right, of course. Yeah.
Well,
a Sherlock Holmes film? How refreshing.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Sherlock Holmes has all the variety and flexibility for storytelling just as much as Batman.
Yeah.
But one is in the public domain and the other one isn't. So, pretty sure.
Sherlock Holmes is in the public domain. I guess that makes sense.
I think so. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't do my homework.
See, I don't know though, because Batman has a ton of villains and a huge universe. What does Sherlock Holmes have? He's like one arch enemy.
Well, maybe you should read. Stories. Maybe you should read more Sherlock Holmes books. Then
I know there's a giant dog somewhere.
I don't. All I know is, shit. I probably should read more. I remember doing research on it in my free time just for fun, and I just do not remember my Sherlock Holmes trivia.
What, like 5 books, I think. And there's a female counterpart. There's an arch nemesis
from New Jersey, right?
Is she from New Jersey?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think
Rachel McAdams did not do the accent.
And
she was awful in those movies, by the way. I'm glad they killed her off. Oops, sorry.
What's that?
Nothing. I just spoiled something. I'm sorry. Yeah.
What?
Don't spoil the Sherlock Holmes movies. Those were like really good.
It's all about the mystery.
Yeah. Ironically enough, the second one was not about the mystery. It just sort of told you things that were happening. Like, there was a general mystery, like, why the bad guy's doing this, but, he was pointing out things that he had no real fucking reason to point out. Like, he had a wind gauge. Oh, like, there's a guy who was a sniper. He blew up a place to hide the fact that he was assassinating someone, which makes no fucking sense at all. I don't know why you would hide that.
I'll hide one crime with a worse crime.
I mean, the explosion is just good enough. I don't know, maybe this was based on the book, maybe, I don't know. I doubt it. Jeez, what was I going to say? So the guy has sniper, he has the wind gauge, the little wind gauge device. Kind of looks like a compass, I think.
Okay.
He set it on the ledge of the building. He's like, he put the wind gauge right here. Like, who gives a shit? That has nothing to do with anything. It's the wind gauge. I think your mom's calling you.
Hello? Apparently they have a surprise for us. Just got a text.
Oh.
You want to come over?
Yeah. Let me just stop this. So that's your spirit animal?
Huh? The horse?
You're some sort of dirty furry?
Actually, my spirit animal is the snapping turtle. Funny you should ask.
Oh. Why the snapping turtle? What's so great about the snapping turtle?
When I wear my glasses, I kind of look like one.
I don't see it. I don't remember the last time I seen you in glasses, but... Yeah. Oh, I see.
You got that?
Yeah, now I see it.
Yeah. I would go get them, but they're upstairs. So
okay.
Simulate it there for you.
Still don't need glasses. 20/20 vision.
20/20?
Yeah, 20/20 vision, man.
You can just shorten that and say 40. I'll get what you mean.
Yeah, it's so good. I can see just fine, man. No one will get these jokes out. Okay, the joke was
visual jokes do not work.
God damn it. See, if we were filming this like half in the bag or something like that, we would be. But I'm camera shy.
You can do it. You can do it with the Lego figure.
Oh yeah.
Would that be hard to angle that?
I don't know because the visual gags with the Legos I don't know. It comes with the editing and not really just with their positions. So,
right.
Like, when there was like this back and forth between you and Mark about whether or not he wanted to eat something, I would just switch back between your faces. Like every single time you guys said something, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I remember talking about a horrible experience I had. Like my mind went to a horrible place, and I just kept interrupting the conversation that Mark and Mike was having. I'm just like, oh god, and I kept cutting to my face. So it part of the humor
is with the Lego figures, yeah.
Yeah. So Sherlock Holmes, that was silly. They didn't need to show that part about him putting that's just unnecessary. Like, oh look, it's stupid. And the whole assassination thing was just so the mystery in the Sherlock Holmes films, it's just more like, why is this person doing this? Because I'm not really engaging on anything that's really happening here, because I feel like he's so far beyond, and he's almost like psychic. So I'm just. Okay,
you're not putting the mystery together. You're just marveling at Sherlock Holmes' ability to put the mystery together.
No, and maybe that's the way it is in the books, but it's not terribly engaging for the reader. So let me see what else I have here. Oh, sorry. Come on. So I think Ian McKellen is kind of wrong here, but
who's he playing in the movie?
Ian McKellen?
Yeah,
he's playing Sherlock Holmes.
What?
He's playing an older Sherlock Holmes.
Why? Did he take on an apprentice or something, or is he just?
Well, he's solving one last mystery.
Oh, I see.
And he's palling around with his little kid, and it's kind of weird, but whatever. That's just my interpretation.
So is he going to turn into a League of Extraordinary Men sort of thing?
It looks like some cozy little film. I don't think it's gonna. It's like none of that is going.
Kind of like the Pink Panther movies.
Kind of, yes. It's all around. Bring the whole family, especially the older members of your family. It's a nice, quiet film. Okay. To offset all the. I'm doing the Mad Max soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which is good, because they actually incorporate what happens on screen with the soundtrack.
Who did the soundtrack for Mad Max?
Junkie XL or something.
His name is Junkie XL?
No, well, that's the group. There's some other guy who did it, but I forget his name. But they always did remixes for a lot of the scores that Hans Zimmer did.
Yeah. Did they do the Spider-Man movie? Like dubstep?
I don't know. No, they did not. But they did do the remixes for the Sherlock Holmes films, for The Dark Knight, for Man of Steel. Cool. And yeah, Mad Max, the score does sound mostly like Man of Steel. Yeah, I was surprised. I'm like, who did okay, someone who worked with Hans Zimmer did this score. Okay, someone has to. And yeah, it kind of did. And, funnily enough, they're all working on the new Dawn of Justice movie. Hans Zimmer and Junkie, whatever they're called. They're all working on it together.
Cool.
So it's gonna be hella freaking epic. Bruce Campbell also said something, but it was more about he thinks Batman fighting Superman is a mistake. LA Times. I'm reading once again the same website. The LA Times spoke with Bruce Campbell, Burn Notice, and Lucy Lawless, Warrior Princess, the stars of Ash vs. Evil Dead, which is an up-and-coming film, I think. So you can see how they're just sort of yeah. So it has really nothing to do with anything. It's just more like, yeah, look, we got this thing that's happening. During the discussion, Campbell goes on a tangent talking about how The Dark Knight wouldn't stand a chance against the Man of Steel and Zack Snyder's Batman vs. Superman and Dawn of Justice. I was always confused about this title, because I always thought it was Superman versus Batman when they did the verses, and I don't know.
I think Batman vs. Superman sounds better.
I think Superman vs. Batman works better.
Oh,
here we go.
All right.
I guess we got our own little civil war here. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so one of the main reasons Campbell is reprising his iconic role for segues into Batman vs. Superman. I'm assuming this is at Comic-Con. He was just asked for this by the LA Times. I don't like characters that are too perfect. What are you going to do with them? That's my only problem with some of the superheroes, is that they're too perfect. Well, I guess this is kind of like what Ian McKellen said. Campbell told the LA Times that Batman fighting Superman, to me, that's, sorry, Warner Brothers, it's just a mistake, because most fans are going to go, baloney, Superman in his sleep. Superman would beat him in his sleep. Even though, like...
We've seen fights in the comic books between Batman and Superman.
Yeah, and Zack Snyder says it's not going to go down exactly like that. That's an aspect of the film, but...
But Batman's done it. I mean, he's never won per se, but he holds his own, and it's feasible.
And it's not about him defeating Superman. I don't think. I remember Zack Snyder saying. Well, I should probably just finish reading before I go on to that.
Well, that's part of what makes it exciting too. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, go on.
It is then pointed out Batman will wear special armor against the Big Blue Boy Scout, which leads to a funny exchange between him and Lawless. This is Campbell speaking. Batman does. Well, he's gonna need it. He's fighting Superman. His face is exposed. Punch Ben Affleck in the face. You're done. Walk away. What's for lunch? Lawless. He's like, no, not in the face, not in the face. Campbell, hey, nice try. I'm not buying what you're selling because, okay, kryptonite. Well, who's carrying around kryptonite? Only Lex Luthor. Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I don't know what just came over me. Oh my god. I just threw my phone at Sam. I'm sorry. I meant to drop. I didn't actually throw it at you. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
It
bounced and hit my leg, and honestly, I was pretty upset. But it's whatever.
Okay, yeah, it's bleeding a bit. It's weird. 'Cause I have the phone cover on here specifically to protect from the phone also damaging and
cutting people.
Someone.
Right? Yeah.
It's kind of like how Batman has the rounded edges on some of his batarangs. I don't know. If he should have different batarangs.
Right. You don't necessarily.
I need to hit a button.
Stab everybody.
Yeah.
You just ruined our machine, Batman.
Sorry. I'll build another one. I mean, Bruce Wayne will build you another one.
I just wanted to buy a diet soda from afar.
Sometimes the thing doesn't actually register it, so you gotta shake it. I don't want to throw it my back. Okay, so yeah, of course, Batman's gonna have kryptonite. I mean, does he usually have kryptonite? Right? I mean,
he has kryptonite in his utility belt. This is one thing he always carries around. He's a resourceful guy. This is not news that Batman is resourceful.
And you see kryptonite in the trailer. You see Jesse Eisenberg playing Lex Luthor going. He is getting really hard over this kryptonite. Like seeing Lex Luthor in the trailer. He has his hands on the glass and you see the green rock glowing.
Right.
He's like he's about to. When I take you home, I'm gonna unwrap you, and you're just gonna. Yeah, he looks like he's getting really turned on by that fucking kryptonite, and as he should, because I'm buying the performance, and there's the Games of War ad.
Yeah, he seemed very. He's good. He seemed appropriate for that role.
Yeah,
from what I saw.
Yeah. So I think this is once again people who are kind of not so much understanding. I don't think that's the film. I don't think that's going to be the major aspect of the film. I think that's just like a
you can't
gimmick.
have them fight each other for 2 hours.
No, I think. Sense. I think there's a different villain in here, and they're just editing it in a way where we can't see what's really happening, because none of this is matching up with what Zack Snyder is saying, or they could be doing something else in post. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the film is done by now, so I don't know. But it's not just simply this hero is going to fight this other hero. It's more of him holding his own, I think.
Right. For
some other reason, and we don't know. I don't really know what's gonna happen, and I probably shouldn't claim either way, but I don't know. I feel like people should probably read. I don't know. When Marvel was selling me, the Marvel heroes are gonna be more popular now. People are gonna get to know them more, and they're gonna go and read the comic books, because that's what I did even before the Marvel Cinematic Universe started. Remember me reading the Iron Man comic books back in middle school and everything?
Yeah.
All the other stuff. So no one's doing that, though. Maybe some people are, but it seems like, all these moments that are based off of comic books, because the creative people, they have to look at this stuff. They have to read through this stuff,
right.
And I do believe Zack Snyder when he says he's a Superman fan. I didn't much care for Man of Steel, but I get it,
Yeah.
But they don't read any of this stuff. I don't think they do.
Right.
So they just look at a basic concept instead of all the different ways it can go. They just go based on what I've seen before, which just be Superman is just really strong and Batman isn't as strong. Whatever. I mean, he knows enough about Superman to know that Lex Luthor has kryptonite, but not enough to know that Batman also has kryptonite.
Right.
And when we plainly see it was introduced in Dawn of Justice, obviously.
Right. It's irresponsible to want to make a superhero film, but not to be willing to just sit down and have a conversation. You could sit down with any basic nerd, walk into a comic book shop, say, "Hey, listen, can I have 15 minutes of your time? I want to hash out some ideas." Why not? All the resources. Go online. Why not read about it?
I mean, you're surrounded. You are surrounded by all those people who know more about you than
and they have nothing to do with this information.
Exactly.
You need it, and they have it. Come on. I mean,
he was probably just on the fly. I don't know. He was doing a little back and forth with Lucy Lawless, who probably should have been playing Wonder Woman, ironically enough.
Well, I don't know who that is.
Lucy Lawless, she was
cool last name. Is that fake?
Probably. She was in Xena Warrior Princess, so that's probably.
Oh, you mean the show that was produced in the 80s? She kind of old?
Yeah.
Or the remake? Was there a remake?
No. She's older, but she looks good. Kind of older.
A very similar character, Xena Warrior Princess. And, I mean, obviously it's in the past, but still sort of similar.
Yeah.
Idea.
I'm just gonna read some of the comments here because that's obviously the best part of the article. This one guy said it's a mistake because heroes fighting each other is dumb and it's a waste of time. Not because Supes would instantly win, which he wouldn't. He isn't really as powerful as the public consensus perceives him to be. His main villain is a powerless human being. Thank you! sorry. Batman has a fair chance even without the kryptonite armor, which probably is. Oh my god, thank you. It was like it's like you know that he fights Lex Luthor, right? You know that's his archenemy, and he has no powers, and they're just like, oh, that's totally reasonable. Him fighting Batman, so unrealistic.
Yeah.
Just no. Maybe it is a waste of time,
point.
but there's an interesting conflict that I think could arise here between Batman and Superman, because
Definitely.
Superman is new, but Batman is kind of old. I think that's an interesting dynamic they can have here, and of course they're gonna bump heads with each other, maybe even physically. And I don't mean like that kind of physically. I mean, you know, I know Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill have been broing it up at Comic-Con, but I don't think they're actually,
A fight between them just makes sense too. You evaluate their characters, their philosophies, their style.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
Yeah. So I just feel like there are a lot of people trying to take the airs out of the tires of this movie because it's gonna be bigger than they expect it to be.
Yeah.
And it's competition, and they also have personal preferences and opinions that might tie into how they feel about it. So.
Sure. And it's more. It's more fun to be the dissenter.
Oh,
wow! People love doing it,
and it's easier.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
It's less vulnerable because you don't get to talk about what you like. You get to talk about why everyone else is wrong and stupid. And part of that is, people do have preferences and tastes that are kind of in the minority of things. Like they don't enjoy most things, but you also have people who sort of do it just to piss on other people's parade. So both parties exist, I'm sure. So, I think that's all. I don't know. I remember seeing. I gotta stay away from these clickbait articles because they're not really substance. They're just sort of like nothing really in depth, nothing really different about it. It's just here's a controversial opinion. I watched all of Daredevil, the Netflix show.
You did?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was better than the 2003 version, but I feel like it has its own sort of faults and everything.
And it's not hard to beat. Or the 2003 show would not be hard.
It's not hard to beat at all. I like the guy that they got from Matt Murdock for Daredevil.
Who's playing him?
Something. I remember his last name because it sounds like it's a double entendre kind of. His last name is Cox. That's the only reason why I remember it.
Cox.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
What would that be a double entendre for?
Not double entendre. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh God, I know this word.
Synonym?
Close to that. It has that same sort of flow. Something nim. Pseudonym? No.
Huh.
Something. I'm sorry. It's one word, two words that sound alike but are spelled differently.
Oh yeah. Sure. I don't remember that either. I can remember my fourth grade teacher writing it on the board and saying, "This is what this means."
Yeah.
But I can't remember what the word looked like.
I remember there being a sketch on some show about that. I think it was Robot Chicken. They had a sketch about like two words can mean different things. Yeah. So he's good. I think he's really good. He's a good Daredevil.
Cool.
And he
blonde
spends
hair and everything.
He has brownish, reddish hair. It doesn't really show up all that well. That's one of the issues I have with the show. It's lit really weird. The cinematography is really weird. It's just like, hey, let's make this like a HBO crime show. Let's have everything sort of dim-lighted, even when we're inside. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, when I was first filming stuff and I was doing dynamic stuff with the lighting, I thought to myself, you know what? Yeah, I'll do some stuff like, ooh, the light's coming from the side of his face. Look how dramatic that is. But it's not always so realistic. Sometimes nice, even lighting looks good.
Makes more sense. If you were in a brightly lit room.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just, whatever.
Right.
It looks weird.
Plus, you want to set a mood for a certain scene. If the scene has some mystery, dim lighting. But otherwise, if you're just talking about your weekend,
Yeah. The Kingpin is one of the major villains of the show, and he's actually, white and everything. What's happening?
I was going to ask. I'm sorry. Go on.
Okay.
Is he fat?
Kind of.
Okay.
They try to. Well, Kingpin's fat. It's just like muscle. So.
He's huge in the comic book.
Yeah. It's as huge as they can get a person to be.
Okay.
And also bald.
Okay.
And also white.
Is it the guy from Breaking Bad?
No.
Okay.
He has this weird way of speaking. It's not really the accent like from the animated series or anything like the original cartoon, because that was the first voice for the Kingpin.
Right.
He talks like this.
Really?
He has this weird sort of raspiness and everything.
Kind of like Christopher Walken?
Something like that. Thank you, Wesley. Thank you, Wesley. Thank you, Wesley. Wesley's his assistant.
Yeah.
I guess I have my own little sort of. I guess I have my own version of Wesley, because he was the guy with the black hair who was. He kind of talked like this, you know. I remember from Invasion Part 1 when they were in the Fisk Tower and there was like the lights coming through and everything.
This is the scene where he's talking to the Hobgoblin?
Oh, he's talking to
the Rhino?
He's talking to the guy. He has like the blue crystal thing.
Yeah, this is where the ship crashes and then he hires the Rhino, but he's not talking to the Rhino.
No, he's talking to the guy who knows how to get the Rhino, I think.
Okay.
So yeah. And Wesley's in the room too, or that's not
your
Wesley.
Version of Wesley. Yeah. The Wesley parallel.
That threw me off. I was like, what the fuck? Where did they get that from somewhere? I don't know. But the Kingpin, the way they portrayed him in the Daredevil series, he's sort of he's kind of socially awkward in a way, because he dedicates his life to his profession, so he doesn't really have time for dates or genuine friends or anything like that, and he flies off the handle very easily, you know, and he obviously has his own sort of demons from the past, but I don't want to spoil any of that.
Well, is it different from the comic books?
I don't recall, but it kind of ties into the animated series, which I think ties into the comic book. So
his dad. Go on. Sorry.
Well, his dad was a politician. He wasn't actually like a criminal, but you know,
not a boxer.
No. Well, I'm talking about the Kingpin.
Oh, the King. Oh, I'm sorry. Not talking about. Okay.
Kingpin's dad was a politician, or he was running for office.
Okay.
So he kind of followed in his father's footsteps, trying to be a prominent person or whatever, trying to fix his neighborhood.
Right.
The woman that he meets runs an art gallery, so this is the first time he really ever sort of walks that part of life, sort of trying to find a romantic interest because his line of work is dangerous and he's mentally kind of just not there.
Right.
Kind of. It's watching the Kingpin go on a first date or something is so. It's so bizarre. It's so surreal watching him sort of stumble his way. Because I'm so used to the Kingpin, not just in my interpretation, but just in many others, just kind of being really confident and kind of charismatic and having so much of a presence. And here, just having him sort of in this position of vulnerability socially, it's really weird. I kind of like it, but I wish he didn't go with the voice, because it sounds...
Is it forced? It doesn't sound
natural? It sounds really forced. It really does.
It's like it keeps coming up. You see with all the Batmans, and just be natural. That's the best way to play a character, exactly. Naturally.
Yeah, Christian Bale's natural Batman voice in Batman Begins, that was totally fine. Yeah. When he's talking to Rachel in the cave, by the way, that cave must have been really cold because... Anyway, the only people... Anyway, when he's talking to Rachel in the cave, it's after he saves her life because of the fear gas almost kills her. The voice he had there was perfect. I don't know why they just didn't go with that. So,
all right, real quick.
You got it?
She's ready. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Where's the trigger? Where's the trigger? You know, it's funny. I'm pretty sure Batman's voice in the comics was the way they wrote it was, this is the way his voice sounds. He's doing a sort of a deeper, raspy voice to cover up his actual voice, and it's scary. Because if you hear, I'm sorry, if I hear Christian Bale's Batman voice coming out from the darkness, I'm fucking scared. Okay.
Yeah.
But with Kevin Conroy's Batman voice, people are like, that's the preferred voice. This is the way we listen. This is when we read Batman comic books. That's the voice we hear in our head. So that's where it just sort of doesn't gel with most people.
Right.
No, it also doesn't really sound all that great on screen.
Ironically
enough, people always say that, oh, it sounds like Christian Bale has fucking throat cancer. Ha 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 ha. When it's really Kevin Conroy is the one who smokes like a fucking chimney. So. I'm not saying like he's gonna die of lung cancer, but you know.
Maybe throat cancer.
Yeah, that too.
And on his deathbed, it's specifically
throat cancer.
Are you doing it?
Are you making fun of Christian Bale again? No, I'm dying, you son of a bitch.
That's hilarious.
No, it's not the way I want to... Those were his final words. You gotta make your final words count, man. You can't be ambiguous with anything.
Right. Unless you really want to freak everybody out.
Yeah, it's buried at the... 45444.
Was that an 8? What was that? I think that was just his death rattle.
Maybe we have to type in death rattle. Maybe it's a microphone. We just gotta go.
Too many characters.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you entered too many characters. I've entered too many characters. You fucking. So you know, people are asking, where are all these people coming from? Why is everyone saying this? They're just interviewing people and they're just giving their honest opinion. I mean, I don't agree with it. People should do more research, but these are sort of, as they say on the nets, casuals. They're not really in depth the way we superior patricians of comic books are. Yeah, even though when people say comic books, they really just mean superhero comic books, not just like comic books in general, because there's other comic books. Besides.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
I've got a whole Dilbert book in my bathroom.
Oh, what now?
Dilbert.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a book of comics. I mean, that's...
Yeah. Or just Garfield.
Garfield?
Yeah. You can go to the Garfield website, because he still does Garfield.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible. He still does Garfield. You can type in the date, and it will show you the comic that was published on that date. So you can put in your birthday, the year you were born, and there you go.
That's great.
You can also do a bunch of other historical dates that had like days where horrible things happened,
like the assassination of JFK.
I don't think Garfield goes back that far. I think it's mostly the 70s. In my awful curiosity, I wanted to see which one he published on 9/11.
Really?
Yeah, it's just something about Garfield cross-dressing or something. I'm like, this is awful. I wonder what he must have been thinking on that morning. He's like, yeah, I'm looking real kick at it. Because they both happened in the morning. Because the newspaper comes out and
that's a shame.
Yeah, I was like, no one's gonna remember my comic.
This was a really good one.
You know what? Good, whatever. I didn't like it anyway.
My God.
No offense to Jim Davis, the writer and creator of Garfield, who is still somehow doing it
and making movies. I mean.
He's making movies, Jim Davis.
Well, he's not making movies, but they made movies out of Garfield. I mean, this guy's career is crazy. He draws cartoons of an orange cat who loves lasagna.
Yeah, he's set for life, really.
And that's it, right? He's set for and that's it.
He still does it, though. He has to make it, like, every single day.
You think he's under contract or something? Like,
I just think he enjoys what he does. I mean, they're not all winners, because if I had to make a story every single day, they're going to be shit.
Yeah.
Right?
That'd be hard.
That's not even a good format. I don't know why. Well, I guess back in the day, it was more cohesive, but nowadays, just like, no. There's so many other things to replace that gaps in the date. So during the week, you don't have to do that much. Even if you are a content provider, someone else is going to fill in that.
Right.
So, you don't have to do much. Or that much. I don't know. Whatever.
It's higher than that now.
Yeah.
We got the internet.
Free shrugs.
Shrugging. You can't shrug with Legos, so you have to let them know.
I did something really funny. I was pretending I was taking off. It looks really cool. I wish you guys... God damn it.
We should invite your whole audience to come and hang out in this basement with us sometime.
That would be really weird.
Like a live audience.
That'd be a really weird invitation.
I wonder what they look like. Can you imagine them all together? Like, what? I want like a picture of them.
Of
your audience.
Okay.
Of the Dark Spidey audience.
That'd be really weird, though.
Yeah.
Shit! I didn't even get to talk about. Okay, before I just maybe a couple more things about Daredevil. I think it's a good show. I think somewhere around the 6th or 7th episode, it kind of loses itself. I think a little bit. I don't like what's her name, Karen Page. I don't like her character. I don't like her. She's irritating. I mean, she's cute, but she's just. Ironically enough, she's one of the actresses I wanted to play Mary Jane.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's all the redheads I wanted to be Mary Jane are being snagged for something else. Like, I kind of wanted Sophie Turner. I almost said Sophie D. That is not the same person at all. Sophie Turner to play Mary Jane, but she's going to be playing Jean Grey in the new X-Men movie, the young Jean Grey.
Interesting.
And I wanted... Jeez, I think there was another redhead. I don't remember. Who did we say? I don't... Whatever. So...
Emma Stone.
That's not happening. Unless they're going to make an adaptation of Spider-Gwen, I doubt they're going to get Emma Stone to do that. Because Andrew might get jealous.
Jealous.
How come you get to play Spider-Man? I want to play Spider-Man. You got to be in Spider-Verse. That wasn't really me. That was an animated version of me. Or a drawn version of me. That wasn't actually me. God.
What's the difference, Andrew?
It's in canon. Shut up. One of the things I was worried about with Daredevil as a live action show was how they would depict his powers.
Yeah.
Because that always interested me, Daredevil as a character, his powers and the way he sort of just even walks about the space, just goes about his everyday. Because all of his sins are heightened. Touch, taste. So he's just running around this world of darkness, and he has all this information feeding into him. I always wanted to know, what is that like from his point of view? And I think the Daredevil film, 2003 film, tried to do something like that.
Yeah.
But I think it confused audiences a little bit.
It made it seem like he could actually see.
Yeah, I think... I still don't know to this day. I think that's just the mental image that he automatically creates for himself.
Right.
And visually, it looks really cool, I think. That's one of the strongest parts of the movie, I think, is the visualization of the internalized vision that he has.
Yeah.
Because when he hits something, the more he can see.
Right.
And that's
the reverberation.
Yeah, and that's the film's way of showing you what he knows.
Right.
Yeah, sonar and all that stuff. One of the things they didn't really touch upon was his sense of touch, his sensitivity. They didn't really even touch upon that in the film, but they do a little bit in Daredevil, the new Daredevil show. Excuse me, sorry. They don't really internalize. They don't have an internalized vision for him. They just sort of camera tricks, sort of tilt. What is that called? Tilt shift. Sort of focus. They just change focus on the camera lens to show what's happening in the background. They kind of heighten up the sound effects a little bit more to show you that he knows what's happening and everything.
Right.
So it's more just you're seeing how he's doing it versus you actually seeing from his point of view.
Right.
And I think on the special features, this is really funny. The special features had a special Daredevil vision, so you could actually see the fight scene from Daredevil's point of view, and it was just a fight scene with just the sound effects. I think like that's clever. That shows some supreme amount of self-awareness. Bravo, Marvel.
That's funny.
So it would always work in comics because it's just him describing it via narration.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that's really cool. A disabled superhero who has all these heightened powers. Daredevil's just really interesting to me just from that standpoint.
So I guess narration doesn't take a large role in the show.
There's no narration.
Not at all.
No. He does sort of. He does talk to a priest about some of his issues, so that kind of counts as like his internalized monologue.
He does that often?
I think like 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Characters kind of just come and go on the show. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
How it's paced. The costume itself, because throughout like the entire show, he just has on the black costume with the blindfold on. Have you know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea.
Frank Miller, Daredevil. He just has like an all black outfit, and he has like this. There's no, it's kind of like Zorro, but he didn't punch out the holes. He just ties just black fabric around his head.
That sounds awesome.
It. Yeah. It's heavily based on
Frank Miller.
Yeah,
I love Frank Miller.
Yeah, the Man Without Fear, I think it was called. That went over Daredevil's origin story.
I'm going to be honest with you here. I've never read any Daredevil at all.
Okay, so that's the one I read that a couple of years back.
I know you didn't you get a huge book of Daredevil at one point and read through it?
I think.
Or am I?
Yeah. It was. I got it from the library.
Yeah.
And I also read a Daredevil from. It was back when the first Daredevil film came out. They had an action figure, and with it they sold a comic book from the characters lineup. So
cool.
This one, it was issue 164. Came out in May 1980. It was just going over Daredevil's origin because it was a pretty prominent issue. It was when Ben Urich actually discovered Daredevil's secret identity. He did it in a previous issue, but this is when he confronts him about it because he got into a fight with Hulk and everything, and he's sort of recovering in the hospital, and all of his super friends are there, including Black Widow. Oh. And I know they had a thing in the comic book, so I'm hoping that Mr. Cox could find his way in the darkness with Scarlett Johansson. Whatever. I'm not even going to finish that one. I thought that would never happen, honestly, because I'm like, the way the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going, there's no way they're going to do Daredevil and Scarlet. And with Black Widow, but it might happen.
Why not?
Yeah, I distinctly remember.
He'll be in the movies. I think they're going to do a Daredevil in the films.
Just with, I don't know if he's going to appear in the films or have a cameo appearance or something. That'd be pretty cool, though.
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't a character in Civil War at all, was he?
Yeah, I remember him in Civil War.
He was?
Yeah, he was in Civil War. He didn't. I don't know don't remember how big of a role he was, but I do distinctly remember him being on Captain America's side.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, obviously, he'd be on Captain America's side, right?
Yeah, because he's more street level.
Right.
So, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Issue 164, I believe. Ben York approaches him in the hospital, and he's like, okay, I'm going to need you guys to leave. He's like, okay, I know who you are. And I know you're blind. He's like, oh, come on, you can't do anything. You can't prove that. And he just holds up a picture. He's like, I want you to tell me what's on this photo without touching it. And he's just like, what? You want me to... Come on, Ben, this is ridiculous. You want to... fine. God damn it. So he can't, because he needs to touch the photo to know what's on it, or... I don't even think he can.
How could he, with a photo?
Maybe he can feel... Because he can read text with ink on it.
Perhaps if he held it up to a light...
the light reflecting off of it. You can see.
Yeah, because he could tell the different intensities based on the heat. I don't know.
I think that's beyond his limit. I think that's beyond his limit.
I mean, that would take some intense sensitivity to be able to tell.
I think he has to touch images to know exactly what's on there, or get some idea of what's on there. So maybe he was just like, oh yeah, let me see the photo. There we go. Oh yeah, that's a picture of so and so.
Wait, so he could tell like the varying levels of the ink?
Yeah, because. Yeah, I think so. Because I do not know actually. I mean, he can read newsprint, and that's a bit different than a photograph.
Right.
So I don't know exactly, but
he has extremely sensitive touch.
Yeah, but his weakness in identifying certain stuff would have to be photos. I'm assuming, because we're having this discussion right now whether or not he can do it. I don't think he can. So that's how he got him. I think. So he tells him his origin. He tells him how he got his powers and everything. And ironically enough, this issue was drawn by Frank Miller.
Really?
Yeah, it was really good.
That's cool.
He's really, really well drawn.
And he's a writer and artist, isn't he?
Yeah, and I feel like this one was written better than the Man Without Fear run in the in the 90s, because it's essentially just a truncated version of his origin story, whereas Man Without Fear is just like details.
Right.
And I feel like some parts it tries too hard to be like, oh yeah, Matt's father was a douche, because there are moments like he'll have a conversation with Matt, and in Man Without Fear it'll cut to him just going, it will almost be like the same exact thing, dialogue for dialogue, but it'll just go, you stupid, or something like that. It's like, okay, come on, you're kind of pushing it. Yeah,
he liked his dad, didn't he? I mean,
yeah.
He kind of molded his life around what his dad wanted him to do.
Yeah.
So he must have had a somewhat positive relationship with his father.
Yeah. I don't even, that wasn't at all. I didn't see that at all in the comic, and they didn't do that in the TV show.
Right.
So, yeah, I still get nostalgic whenever I still have it. I look through it sometimes. I get nostalgic over it because it was from 2002, 2003, and everything. I lost the action figure. I couldn't give less of a shit of where the action figure is, because it's the Ben Affleck Daredevil. And he just has a very particular frame in that outfit. It's just like, I don't care. That can be.
I don't want to.
I just want this. It's well drawn. It's well written. It's pretty good.
That's cool.
Good, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Ben Affleck has a better frame for Batman actually than he would Daredevil, because Daredevil's supposed to be kind of lithe, isn't he?
Oh yeah, more gymnasts. I mean, gymnasts aren't exactly the slimmest people, but they're not like
not like Batman, who's top heavy.
Yeah. So it's weird, because I didn't expect it to be that close. Man Without Fear and issue 164, because it's almost like I'm getting different glimpses here and there.
Right.
And Matt's dad hitting him isn't even the worst that it gets. Just the narrator explaining what's happening to Matt during the accident it's also written completely differently. It's like I don't remember who wrote issue 164, but it was more subdued. Whereas with Frank Miller, he kind of got into his famous sort of repetitious narration, where he's repeating stuff over again. He's just overemphasizing what we already know, and it's just like, oh god, just we get it.
Play off.
Yeah, and when I go back, I'm actually holding both comics in my hand, and I'm looking back to back, and I'm going, oh wow, this is actually a lot. This is subtle compared to that, and it's also better drawn, I think. John Romita Jr. actually drew for Man Without Fear, which is closer to that sort of sketchy art style that Frank Miller has been known for,
right?
Especially for stuff like The Dark Knight Returns and The Dark Knight Strikes Again. and holy terror and oh god. But yeah, so if you want a good introduction to Daredevil, I would recommend issue 164 and Man Without Fear.
Thanks.
Yeah, because I like the way it ends. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I kind of like the way it ends. The dialogue, actually, it's that way of writing dialogue where you kind of go, that's actually Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Wait, is he being facetious? What does he mean by this? Wait, stop! No! Oh god, okay.
Isaac.
Yeah.
This is Man Without Fear.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to know what it is, or you want me not to tell you?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so he he kind of ends the same way that the TV show ends, or the first season ends. I don't know if I want to spoil the TV show.
It's okay.
He gets the Daredevil outfit.
Yeah.
In the Man Without Fear, he goes. He's narrating. I don't remember, but he gets to this one point, and he's just like, he's talking about the suit. He says like, God knows what it looks like, which implies that he just sort of. I don't know what it implies, but part of it implies that he just made a costume, and it manifests as his nickname that he had as a child.
Right.
He doesn't know exactly what it looks like, but then again, if he doesn't know what he looks like, he's probably just being facetious or something.
Right.
Because he said, God knows what it looks like. So I was like, okay, that's actually kind of clever. So I like the way it ends. So
cool.